Hello and welcome to the tasting of the Cheese Lady July subscription box cheeses. Today I'm joined by my co-host Pauline.
Hi there.
Hi, and we are absolutely excited to try this wonderful summery cheeses with you. So we have 4 cheeses today as usual, and they're all from different corners of the world, and they're made with different milk, so there's a lot of versatility and a lot of different flavors to discover. Shall we dig right in?
Please.
So the very first cheese that we're going to try today is driftwood. So driftwood is made in Somerset in England. It is a goat's milk cheese made with vegetarian rennet. And as you can see, it is a soft cheese that comes in a little log. And let's discover it. Let's have a little sniff and a little try. In terms of aroma, I would say it's fairly gentle, and especially here I have it on the biscuit. I can actually smell the biscuit a little bit more than I can smell the cheese. But very, very elegant, very subtle, a little bit of sweetness. Anything else?
A little herbaceous?
Herbaceous, yes. And actually, as I'm trying to remove it from my cracker, I can see that by this stage of its ripeness, our driftwood has developed a little bit of a cream line. So you'll see that under the skin. And the skin on the outside is a little bit gray, so that has some vegetable ash mixed in. The skin is edible, so all of this cheese is edible. The cream line, the core, enjoy it all.
I love it when it's got that cream line. It just makes it so much more intense.
Yeah, it gives it a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
But of course, if your driftwood doesn't have a cream line, it might be on the younger side and it'll have its own kind of upside. It'll be more zingy, more youthful. Whereas let's try our driftwood. What do you think in terms of flavor?
Very complex. Quite mouth-coating. It's definitely lingering. Not goaty. I don't find goaty at all.
I mean, just a very elegant essence of goat's milk, I think. It's got that herbaceousness that you mentioned. It's got a little bit of zing. But because we reckon this driftwood is quite nice and ripe at this stage, it has more depth. There is the cream line, which kind of brings out a little bit of a mushroomy element. Such a beautiful cheese.
It is quite zingy.
It is zingy. I mean, there's just like a symphony of flavors, shall we say. I think it's very, very complex. So please do enjoy it slowly at home and see what you discover. And like I say, I think the great thing is enjoying your driftwood and seeing what stage of ripeness it's at. And that's where you can start thinking, what wine can it go well with? Given that our driftwood is more on the ripe and mature side, I would still say probably with white wines.
Yeah, I would say so.
Given
quite
that's
a crisp one.
A crisp white wine. However, with it being summer, we also can be thinking rosé.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and something with a lot of nice juicy fruit, but still with good acidity, would be very, very nice. I think here.
Yeah.
Do we concur?
Absolutely.
I should probably say something a little bit about the producer as well. So it's made by White Lake, and we had the pleasure of visiting White Lake. They're wonderful farmhouse / artisan producer, because when it comes to their goat's milk cheeses, they do have their own supply of goat's milk. I think they have about 700 goats. There was quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
We didn't count them, but we were told about 700. And that's what makes this particular cheese farmhouse cheese, because the milk supply is directly on the farm. But they are incredible at White Lake. They make so many cheeses for an artisan traditional producer. It was quite phenomenal. Yes,
a lot.
Staggering variety. I'm very, very impressed. But everything is done with precision and care, almost military precision, which is very important in cheese making, because things can go wrong. But I think with them, it's just, you can always trust their quality, and they're absolutely spectacular. So a lovely summery driftwood. So now let's try our second cheese. And we are going to quite an unknown territory for a lot of cheesemongers, Germany. Germany does make artisan cheeses, but somehow they don't tend to get out of the country a lot, and what does get out tends to be more on an industrial side, whereas this one is an artisan cheese, and it's absolutely stunning. I actually brought a bigger piece here for us to have a look at. Look at that.
It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Blue just kind of catches your eye.
Do you think it's cornflowers?
I think it's cornflowers, yeah.
I love them. So a wonderful alp blossom. So the name kind of gives it away. So it's covered in flowers, and it's made in the Alps. It's made in Bavaria in Germany. So that's south of Germany, I believe. Absolutely stunning there. And we can immediately see the quality of cow's milk. The color is golden.
The color is gorgeous. I mean, it's a real deep, almost honey color. It's just gorgeous.
It's just very much in keeping with the Alpine tradition of Swiss cheeses as well. So and visually we can see that, and we can feel with our fingers that the texture is quite firm here, but still pliable. There's a little bit of
pliable, definitely,
and smooth. So an Alpine cheese usually quite smooth in texture, unless it's very mature, then it will develop some crystals.
Has a floral hit, doesn't it?
Yes, especially if you start with the rind, there's a lot of floral notes there. Whereas if we go inside the paste, a lot more kind of umami, beefy, nutty aromas. Wonderful.
It's quite umami on the palate.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think anyway.
Let's have a try.
It's quite a savoury cheese almost, considering how florally it starts.
Yeah. It's that blend of savoury and sweet and floral. There's definitely umami on the palate and beefy kind of broth bouillon notes.
Yep.
But also nutty.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nutty.
Would you have the rind with this?
You could, absolutely. I mean, it's all natural, nothing unnatural on the outside of this cheese. You can definitely eat the flowers if you so desire. But yeah. And I should actually mention, this is tiny alp blossom, so you can see the whole cheese is about yay big. And personally, I do prefer the smaller versions. There's a bigger version which comes in about 6 kilo wheel. For me, smaller alp blossom matures faster and has a little bit more depth of flavor. The bigger one is lovely as well. It's much more creamy, much more kind of fudgy in texture. But this one is definitely super complex, and I love them. And you know what else I thought we could do with this cheese? Because it's got this fantastic shape, it can be shaved on a Girol machine.
Oh yeah, clever.
I think you could try that at home.
So you're saying take the top off?
Take the top off, and you know the Girol scraper that you do little rosettes with? I think that could go really nicely. Not because of only of its shape, but also because of its texture. It's a very similar texture to Tête de Moine that goes on the Girol.
Because I've just had the rind with the flowers on it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Florally, but without it being overly flowery.
Yeah.
It's very nice, and it's not perfumey or anything like that. It really just kind of enhances the flavour, I think. It's really lovely. Gorgeous.
I think it'll work nicely with a floral summery wine then.
Yes.
And actually, I personally would like to stick with the idea of the rosé here. Must be in the rosé mood in the summer, and I am indeed. So definitely a rosé, nice fruity with a maybe light floral note. You could have it with a light red or a nice florally white.
Yeah,
I think I agree on that. Lovely. So that's alp blossom, and now our third cheese. We're going to go to Sardinia, another lovely place that we had the pleasure of visiting. And this cheese is quite phenomenal, I think. It's one of the most ancient cheeses in the world, according to some records. It's been in existence since the Bronze Age. And this cheese is called Fiore Sardo. And Fiore Sardo is essentially a pecorino. And a lot of people get a little bit confused about the whole notion of pecorino. They think it's just one cheese, whereas pecorino is a whole family of cheeses.
Yeah.
So same as cheddars in Britain, we have so many different cheddars. So there are many different pecorini from Italy. And essentially that means that this cheese comes from Italy and it's made with sheep's milk. In Italian, pecora means sheep. So this pecorino is called Fiore Sardo. It's still a pecorino, it just got a different name. And the sardo bit suggests that it's from Sardinia. And just check out its color first and foremost. I mean, it's very deep, but noticeably different to the golden of the al blossom. What would you say? Is it more ivory or kind of hay color?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I would say hay color.
Less gold, but deep and slightly ivory. And in terms of texture, I immediately notice that it's got a lot less smoothness.
Yeah.
So
you would appear it's crumbly.
Yeah. You can just look at it and you'll know on the palate it'll feel a little bit rugged compared to Appenzeller. Oh, not Appenzeller, Al Blossom.
Yeah.
Right. I'll have a little sniff.
Yeah. Definitely a sweetness there, isn't there? A nuttiness.
And a little bit of a kind of a sharp tang.
Yeah. There's definitely a
typical of pecorino, I think. There's that, I want to say lanolin note, and I know a lot of people are like, what's lanolin? If you ever imagine rubbing a sheep or woolly jumper and then smell in your hands, there's that hint of lanolin, that oiliness from sheep's wool. Definitely there. Let's have a try. Oh, I should have said the texture is quite firm because it's a very nice and mature pecorino. Well, immediately, the texture that we discussed, you can see that ruggedness, crumbliness, but very toothsome.
A little bit drier on the palate.
Definitely.
There is a sharpness.
Yes.
And it's quite at the back of your throat, isn't it? It's quite...
And
it's
it kind
very
of bites you
lingering.
in different places of your mouth. Very lingering. I think this is the kind of cheese, I mean, all of these cheeses are very versatile. You can cook with, use in cooking in some way, or enjoy with a glass of wine. And this is definitely one of them. Not only you can enjoy it and just ponder it over a glass of wine, but it will definitely enhance any Italian type of cooking that you may be doing. Just grating a little bit of this on pasta, that would just bring out the flavor. And actually, there is another misconception about pecorini in general, is that a lot of them or all of them are very, very salty.
No, it's not something it hits you, is it?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a little bit of salt, like in every cheese, but it's not the first thing comes to mind when you enjoy this Fiore Sardo.
No.
There's a lot more to it. There's the sweetness, the sharpness, and then just like a background of salt.
It just seasoned beautifully.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Actually, if you pay even closer attention, you might pick up a hint of smokiness. Because very traditional producers dry their cheeses after cheese making in the atmosphere where there's an open fire going. So I think it kind of picks up a hint of smokiness.
Not sure I'm catching it.
I think near the rind you'll get it. Yeah. And then there are Fiore Sardo that are fully smoked. This one is not smoked, but I just kind of pick up a hint. And I don't know if it's my imagination because I know the story. But yeah, amazing pecorino. I think when it comes to wine, because it's so complex and it's so full on your palate, we definitely need to maybe abandon our idea of rosé unless you have a really full-bodied rosé. And I would go for something red. Our new red summer one. I would even go a bit more, like go classic Italian Chianti. Yes. Okay. And that would just be a perfect combination, I think. However, this cheese I could also see being enjoyed with beer. So nice complex, maybe ale with nuttiness.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it would hold its own with a whiskey as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it really would hold its own with a nice whiskey.
This is open to experimentation, is what we're saying. Have fun with it at home. Absolutely. Don't stop yourself. And let us know if you find a really amazing combination that we should try. I think that's what we should be asking you, because we're always very open to new suggestions. So if we're missing out on a flavor pairing, please do let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we try our last cheese? I think it's going to be very difficult to top that in flavor, but we do have a blue. So traditionally, blues are at the end of the cheese board because they have the biggest flavor. I did, however, go slightly off-piste, shall I say. For summer blue, I went with a milder one because I was thinking, well, not a lot of people will be thinking of port or maybe really sweet sherries in the summer. So let's have a blue that's not extremely strong or eye-watering. So this blue is from England, from Berkshire, called Barkham blue. Would you like to have a little taste?
Thank you.
It's made with cow's milk and vegetarian rennet. And what I immediately love about this blue, I mean, the shape is just fantastic. It looks like an ammonite type thing. And inside, I also love the color.
Yeah.
It is just so golden. You can see the cheese is going to be really nice and creamy on the palate. It's not runny,
no,
but it will be really dense cream texture. And part of the reason why, well, first of all, it's cow's milk. That's why it's got that touch of gold, but also it's not any cow's milk, Guernsey cow's milk. And they are renowned for their really rich golden milk. So,
I mean, the first thing I noticed when you smell it is the creaminess. It's almost like double cream you're smelling.
Definitely butter and cream,
That kind of,
And to touch, it's very buttery as well. You can imagine already how it's going to be on your palate. You can see a fairly good amount of blue, but this is the blue that's not necessarily going to bite you quite intensely on your palate. They're just so mouth-coating.
very
Beautiful. So
beautiful and rich, creamy.
Yep.
Has a little kick of salt, but you can also taste the mushroominess of it.
Absolutely. I think what I love the most about this cheese is the butteriness of it.
The texture.
Texture is just gorgeous. Yeah. That's why I think it's very appropriate in the summer. It's beautiful. It's not too strong. So the producer of this cheese is Village Made. We've had a few cheeses in the last few months from them as well, like Wigmore and Spenwood. And this is one actually of their recent acquisitions. They didn't invent this cheese. The lady who founded Village Made is a cousin of the lady who used to make this cheese. So they made the transfer when her cousin decided to retire, I believe. And now Village Made make this cheese in addition to their wonderful Maida Vale, Wigmore, and Spenwood. So an incredible blue. When it comes to enjoying it, I think we can stick with the red wine idea here. Absolutely open to experimentation. I think you can see what you enjoy with this blue. Okay, well, this is our cheese board for July. We hope you enjoyed our little cheese chat. Do let us know if you managed to enjoy these cheeses with us. What were your thoughts? Did you have any favorites? Do you have any favorites?
I'll love some.
I mean, you know, I'm going to say love them all. They're all my babies.
Yes.
But today, for me, I think Driftwood was the star. Closely followed by everything else. But yeah, because I probably feel more in the summery mood. Yeah, a lovely goat's milk cheese. It was very pleasing. Okay, well, we hope to see you next time. In the meantime, have an enjoyable July, and please let us know what you enjoyed from this cheese board and how we can make these videos better for you next time. Bye.
Bye.